All right. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. We got a big crowd today.
Yeah.
Good. So, we have any questions to get us started
Yes.
off? Yes, Joan.
What did you say yesterday in the prayer? Did you say gardening God or
Yes.
guardian God?
Gardening. So that was part of
That's what I thought you said.
Yes. That was part of the prayer that we did every day for offering. It was a repeat after me prayer, and it was gardening God. We plant, we grow, we share with others. And all of God's children said amen. So yes, it was gardening God. Since the prayer was about that particular petition was for caring for creation.
It jolted me, it made me think. So it was good.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you
Master gardener, actually.
that I was just gonna say, if you think about the Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
seeing God's handiwork there. Yep. So yeah, I was trying to use some of the different prayers and ideas and themes from VBS throughout the last week.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks. More people.
Oh, there's even
Morning.
more.
Man,
Good morning.
we're gonna have to.
Good morning. Got to move to a bigger room.
You're gonna have to squeeze in or sit at the front of the class.
Go ahead.
Oh, all
That's
right.
where you usually sit. So.
No, that's not
No,
what we There's no set chairs.
So I'll find that by getting a new iPad or whatever that thing is that we talked about before.
Yeah.
You can have time to show me before Friday
Show you what.
how to make it function, work. And if I make it this fixed, can I have both of these and do they both work? Do they know to
Yeah.
cover through?
Yeah, because so Richard's asking about having multiple devices on the same account, as far as like a tablet or a phone or different things, and so Becca and I have the same. We share our iCloud account, so that purchases that we make on one work on all of our devices. And so we've got both our phones, both of our iPads, both of our Macs, plus instead of selling Becca's old iPad, we gave it to Aubrey so that she, and so she gets it for a little bit of time whenever she wants it. Anyway, we'll get, we're not talking parenting right now, but anyway, so we have all those devices all associated with one iCloud account or iTunes account. So yes, so you can have multiple iPads or anything on the same account, and it's not going to cause some kind of error or glitch or confusion on their part.
So if I buy another one, which will probably be Thursday, but well, maybe Wednesday, I'll see how my Wednesday goes.
Yep.
That's provided it has the same email account and
Yes.
password.
Correct. Well,
No, because
so if you want to get into further semantics, so for our iTunes, sorry, I said iPhone. For our iTunes, for like the App Store and everything, we use the same credentials. But Becca has her own iCloud account, so that her free gigabytes of data for the backup are separate from mine. So that part's separate. But as far as purchases, subscriptions, like we subscribe to the Apple Music, it's $10 a month, and we get pretty much everything on the Apple library for music we get access to whenever we want. So we share that for $10 a month. So those things we share, but in terms of our data and the particular what we choose to have on our devices are all separate. And yet, by having the same iTunes account, we share the purchases. So if I purchase years ago, which now we don't use anymore, they also don't update it anymore, was a GPS program before the built-in ones were really good. We bought that, and it was like $30. But because we were on the same account, she could download that same $30 program for free. So that's how we did it, so that we could avoid having to make duplicate purchases, so to speak. Yep.
So if I buy another one of these things, I'm going to have one Apple account.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my original one. So if I'm deducing what you're saying is this is the primary one, then the new one is going to be a second word to that one?
It's not secondary. They're just in tandem. So when you log into your, let me see. Hold on real quick. Let me look something up. So if you go into settings, so if you've, which yours won't, Richard, because
It's too old.
it's pretty old.
Okay.
But anyone who's running iOS 10, if you go into settings, the very first thing is it's got your name at the top on a mobile device for an Apple device. And when you click on that, it shows you every device in your that you own that's registered with that email address. So yeah, if you look up real quick, like you can see all those devices are listed as a part of my account.
So is that under
So then you
Control
can
Center?
see all of them. No, just settings.
I'm in settings.
You don't go into anything. It's just the very, very top. Like I said, yours is,
Oh,
No.
This is way too different?
yeah. Well, no, it's because it's an older
Oh, that's what I
operating
meant.
system.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, see, just settings above airplane mode, they now have this,
Sorry.
who you are.
Okay. Oh. Now,
And then it tells you what devices are associated
I've
with your
downloaded
account.
the newest, or as much as I can do, for software update.
Yep.
Which is in here, which is going to go through this. It'll do this for 20 minutes. It won't do
Right.
nothing. So it's probably iOS 10 that's not letting me go to, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Just like for any, well, not necessarily laptops, but for whether you're on an Android device or a Windows Phone device or an Apple device, eventually they stop allowing your device to update to the newest operating system because they know your device won't be able to handle it.
No, and that's fine. That's why I'm
So-
going to get a new one.
Yep. So, which is one of the reasons why, they like selling a new one each year.
Does that mean I can put it in?
Yes. Finally decided to work. If you
So
do
I
that, it's not
one
going to do
there?
it. Yep. You won't be able to use your, just don't say install until class is over, because otherwise you won't be, it takes over your computer to install the update, or your tablet. So yeah, you can have multiple devices on a single account, and you can do that with Android devices as well, so it's not just an Apple exclusive thing. And then however, for Android devices, like Daniel's new tablet, now I know, Sandy, you've got your own iPad, so you probably won't use his, and you probably aren't too concerned about privacy. But, I can't with an iPad, but if I had an Android tablet or an Android phone, with Aubrey, I could create a separate login, like you can on a desktop or laptop. You can create separate logins, and then they have access to only certain programs or apps and things like that. And the Kindle, if anyone has a Kindle, you can actually limit screen time. So you go into parental settings and you say, okay, you've got a half-hour of screen time. And then the Kindle will actually just log you out at the end of 30 minutes, and and the kid can't get back in. So parent imposed screen time that just locks you
Until
out.
they figure out how to bypass
Shh.
it.
You're not
real quick.
You're not supposed to know that. But yes, exactly. Yeah.
I have probably a really easy question.
Yep.
The other day I had sent an email and I wondered if the person had opened it on my iPhone.
Okay.
How do I know if
An email.
email?
That's I think you can set up, it would not be in your phone, Sandy. You would have to go to the web version of like Gmail or Hotmail.
Oh,
And there's an option for read receipt. And then what I've never turned them on, but I believe what happens is when the person opens the email, it then kicks an email to you that says this email has been read or something of that nature. But I've never used them. Maybe someone else has.
I use that at work. The thing of it is, if you send something, inside your car is working, it didn't matter. But if you send something to somebody outside the shipyard, as soon as they open up, then it flashes them a warning.
Yes.
Email is being sent from your
that's right,
machine
that's right.
that you didn't generate. and they can stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother asked me, why is my machine doing this? Well, because I have to have a receipt that you received what I sent you. Not for him, but it just did that for everything I sent. So yeah, it works great. For work, it works great. For other things,
they might be able to stop it and not.
Yeah, oh yeah, he could stop it. He didn't have to send it back, and he didn't know, but he was wondering why it did that.
Mm-hmm.
The government machines, they couldn't stop it, and then I got it.
Well, yeah, it was probably programmed in there to automatically do that.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
That
plus
makes
it'd be
sense.
a problem if you set it up, then every email you send,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you'd want to turn it back off, because
Right.
otherwise you'd get.
You can send yourself a blank copy too.
That would just make sure that you knew it went through,
Right.
which is one step. But yeah, on text messages you can do read receipts.
I'm just looking at that on text messages on
Yes.
mine. This is an iPhone. There's a menu selection, send, read, receipts.
But the thing I was going to say about that is it's sending them. So you are letting them know, and that's you saying you want to do that. But if the other person on the other end would have to do it for you to know that they read yours. So that, which is getting past essentially that permission thing, is you are granting permission that, if I send a message to you, or you send a message to me, I've turned on my machine read receipt, so that then on your text message, when I get it and I look at it, I open the app and I look at it, then on yours, right underneath where normally it says delivered in that little tiny text, it would say read.
Brian, if I understand this correctly, and when I've got this turned off, people do not know whether I have read their text message or not.
Correct.
And if I turn it on, they're notified somehow. How are they
Just
notified?
next time if they're sitting there with the text, with messages open, and waiting for a reply, then they will see under the chat bubble where they sent you the text. Normally it says delivered for a little bit of time. It will switch from delivered to read.
Got it.
But then the other way, if you're texting between Apple devices, they now have that little 3-dot chat bubble letting people know that someone's responding back right away.
There's another menu selection here. It says send as SMS when iMessage is unavailable.
Correct.
What does that mean?
So everyone here probably has, if you all have a normal, maybe normal is not the right word, but if all of you have a cellular plan which includes unlimited talk, text, and data, or not data, unlimited talk, text,
Messaging.
what is it? No, maybe it's just unlimited talk and text. But the unlimited text is SMS, which are text messages that are sent through your carrier. And iMessage is Apple's proprietary program, and by turning on iMessage, they turn blue. If you text another iPhone, you see that your messages are blue instead of green. That uses data, not cellular service. So when you are sending an iMessage that's blue, you're using your data program, or your monthly data allowance, not your unlimited texting service through your carrier.
What do you recommend?
If your data becomes a concern, then I would turn it off. If you're texting someone and it's green, like I know you and Susan, you've got an iPhone, she's got an Android, it's green. So those are text messages through your carrier. But if you turn it off, then everything will be green, and it'll all be a part of that unlimited texting package that you have, and not go towards your data. Sending a text message is insignificant enough that it probably won't affect your data plan.
So probably leave it on.
Yeah. The big difference is if you are, again, it only work between iPhones, but if you are, for me, for example, maybe you weren't all here, but my home does not have very good cell reception. And so texting someone like, dang it, no, he's an iPhone now too. Texting Phil, so like Liz and Phil, both have Android devices. Sometimes it will take upwards of a half an hour for my text to get sent to them because of my cell service not being stable at my home.
Oh my gosh.
If they had an iPhone, because it's a data message, not a carrier message, it uses my wireless signal to send the data, just as if you were to send an email or download an app or watch YouTube or Netflix on your phone. That all takes data, and it's using your wireless signal. iMessage does that. So if I'm ever texting, pretty much my entire family has iPhones, and some of my good friends do. So I can send them messages from my home because we're all blue, and so we're using data through the Wi-Fi, not the carrier text message. So that is a long-winded answer. So basically, for iPhone users, green means both you're texting a non-Apple device or a device that does not have iMessage turned on, and you're using your unlimited text messaging through your carrier. And then blue means you're using data and you're texting another Apple device.
Now, go ahead. I was going to say, when I turned it on, now a whole new screen appears with a series of questions. MMS messaging on or off, whatever that might be.
Multimedia messaging, which means pictures and videos.
Group messaging.
Sending a text message to multiple people at once.
So show subject field, character count.
So subject field would be more like an email, so you can create a subject and then a text message. Character count.
Pretty self.
Yep.
And then block, and then under block, I've got one phone number, that's solicitor. I can add more there, I guess.
Yep.
And it would block anybody from that number.
From calling or texting you from that number. Yep.
Can I do that with an Android phone?
Probably, though unfortunately I can't speak authoritatively on a...
This is what I get all the time when I send email back and forth to them or said, please don't send me this garbage, and they get 20 of them.
Well, yeah. Well, as soon as you... same thing with an email and text messaging. As soon as you email back that you don't want to receive correspondence from them, you are basically telling them that you are a valid phone number or you are a valid email address. And so now they know they've got something that they can work with. And so then they're going to just hit you full
How do
force.
you stop it?
You can block numbers. If Android does not have it built in, which I would do a Google search on, if they don't have it built in, then I would call your carrier, Verizon or whoever,
Yes.
and have them block the numbers for you.
Because I tried, the reason I'm asking is I went to Verizon over there, whatever it is, and I did just what I said, look at this. I mean, and this, like, they're stacked on here like sardines, and I said, I don't want it. I don't know. I don't want them. Please help me. We can't help you.
They should be able to block the numbers.
Yeah,
They do that.
You need to go to Olympia rather than
Okay.
Finger.
Okay.
Well, oh yes, because here in town, they are third party.
The Verizon store?
Yeah, it's not Verizon. It is a
Oh.
Verizon authorized retailer. Is that the right
Oh.
term?
Kiosk in Costco.
Yeah, it's like the kiosk in Costco.
Oh, okay.
They are authorized to sell
They're not-
Verizon, AT&T, and
You can
Sprint
also
or
go to
whoever.
your Verizon account online and block numbers through that. too.
There you go.
That's what I do.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I do.
okay.
Yeah, Kent.
When I talked to you, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, about the email. Like,
Yes, yeah,
so
no, it was a
that
couple
you
days
brought
ago.
up here, or is that something we care about? Or?
Yeah, we've talked about it, but it's never hurts to talk about it again.
I got a limited number of people I email to, and when they come back, because I've got their email captured as a contact, it'll, like Windows 10, it puts a little dot and it'll say SB, Sharon Berg, and it'll have her name behind it. Not her email address, but just the name because it's a common person that I deal with. And so I got an email from her, and she has a bad habit of not signing her email. She just said something, meet Friday, 1 o'clock, airport Niner, which I just got a couple days ago. She doesn't sign it, but I know it's her because it says right up there in the top line. So anyway, I got this one, SB Sharon Berg, something I thought you'd like, Ken. And then there's a web address, and you click on it, and it automatically brings it up. Not signed, like she never signs anything. Anyway, I bring it up, my screen goes red. Norton, we're not letting this through because this is a dangerous site, we determined. And, oh really? So I clicked out of that. Then I went up to the email address that has her name, and you can click on the name and it'll actually bring the email address up. It's there.
Yes.
And it was some email address I've never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
And because I tried to open that site up, because I thought it was from her, a known person, after that, I got, and Norton stopped them all. 2 red hits, which is something trying to attack or enter my machine, and they blocked it. About an hour later, 2 more. An hour later, 2 more. An hour later, 2 more. It finally stopped. And then just yesterday, I got another email from her. This one was now I don't know anything of hers, but this one had a different web address or email address from somebody else entirely. But the same thing. Something you might really like, and then you click on that, and I didn't. I dumped it. But, so anyway, there's that going on. So I know the thing I can do to combat it is like when you sent yours this morning, and it has a web link to watch it up there.
Mm-hmm.
But you put down below, you sign it, Pastor Brian or PB. If it's signed by any sort of signature, then I know it came from you. Because these other ones is just a generic to everybody, and they don't sign anything. So,
Is there any, Brian, is there anything we can do to prevent that?
Unfortunately not, because as Ken pointed out, the second time it came through, it was a different email from the first time. So they're both spam, but yet they're generating email addresses like it's popcorn.
and couldn't this also be used for those people that who take control of your machine and want the money? You send them
the
$100
ransomware,
off.
yeah.
Couldn't that be hidden in there on? So could something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how
anything.
exactly they work, but yeah, they. I mean,
It could be anything coming
Yep.
into your machine. It could
Have
be
you
woven.
talked to your sister?
Oh, I've talked to her.
Is there a
I haven't
possibility
sent
that
you
somebody got in her mailbox and they're
Yeah.
sending to everybody? You know,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
what-
they've got everybody who's
Yeah,
addressed.
so she
Yeah.
needs to change her password. She needs to change her
She
password.
needs to get a really good virus protection, but it's already done now.
Yeah, but
Somebody-
by changing her password, it'll at least prevent it from
happening
reoccurring.
again.
Yeah, well, it will hurt. And I don't know how they. Well, no, they got all of our
All of her
Yeah,
contacts.
see, that's
from
right.
her, and now that they got her, they
Just
don't
like
care
the
about
same thing
her.
that happened to me. Yeah.
So
They mine me and they people.
Yeah, there's two ways of doing it, and I don't know all the ins and outs. I just know that it happens. And the one way is they get all your contacts and they get your name. So then they make a fake account, as was Ken's case, and then they, again, and we talked about the great thing is when someone sends you an email is the email programs just tell you the name of the person. The bad thing is then you don't by default see what the actual email address is. So you could get an email from Citibank or Bank of America or PayPal or eBay or saying that your account's been compromised or you've won this item or something, and it looks legit because they've copy and pasted everything from an actual eBay email, and yet if once you actually click on the email address, you see that it's XYZ from @xyz.com, which is not legit. So there's that one. So there's that way, or the other way is that they do get your password and they get into your account and send spam from your account to all of your contacts. And then they've got control of a legitimate email. And so then you click on that and you, oh, it really is, you know, John. But it's not John because someone has hacked his account. So unfortunately, that's the harder one. But you still don't want to, if you ever get an email that says, thought you might be interested in, or thought you might like this, and it's just that and a really short email, or a short link, I mean. Yeah. So yeah, never click on those. And then the other side of that is, it is good to have a good antivirus, so that when you do have those moments of, oops, I clicked on it, that your antivirus then says, no, I'm going to be smarter than you this time, and stop it from happening.
That's what I was always taught at work. You never open anything if you don't recognize the sender. And they would actually test us. They would send us bogus emails just to see who would open it, and there was always people who did.
Yep.
So
yeah. And the story I always like to tell, which I did tell Ken, was several years ago, Steve sent, he was notorious for the no subject.
No subject.
And he sent me, it was no subject, and he didn't say anything. He just sent a YouTube link.
Okay.
And so then I created a new email and wrote him back instead of responding to that, and said, did you mean to send me a YouTube link? And then he wrote back and said, yes, it's of my daughter Sarah doing circus stuff. Ooh. But I was like, how am I supposed to know? There's no subject. You didn't sign it. All you did was send a link to a website.
Quick,
yeah. And that could have just done terrible things. And so that's, that's a third layer you can do is, write back to them. And start it from a new email. Don't reply to the email. And if it hadn't been him and it had been a spammer, because it was probably a program now that had taken over, initially they do the hacking, but then it's a program that sends out all the spam. So if you send them an email, they're not going to email you back. And so if you don't hear back from that person, then you know that the actual email has been compromised. And then you call them and say, your email. You probably don't have access to your email anymore and you don't realize it. So, and that's hard. That's frustrating. It's a long process. Happened to Steve. It happened to Becca. Happened to Bill.
How long did it take you to get that all undone?
What's that?
How long did it take you to get that all undone?
The main thing is change your password, and then I sent out messages to people, but on a new email. But what I do, if there's any question, I just hover over the from, and it shows me, is it dot CZ or whatever the CZ is, what country, then I know for sure that it's not, and I just done it.
Brian, I think I'm going to buy the new Apple. When is the 10 coming out?
The phone. Well, so the rumors is there's going to be 3 models this year. There's going to be the 7, which I believe Daniel and Sandy have, or the 7S, I should say. So they're going to add the S moniker to it, and then the 7S Plus, so the bigger size like mine. And then the third model would be the 8, what everyone's dubbing as the 8. So those will be the 3 models, the 7S, 7S Plus, which are just the same phone but different screen sizes, essentially. And then the 8, which will be their quote-unquote anniversary phone, because this is the 10th year of the iPhone. And they're predicting major delays for that, or rumors that are flying around right now.
When I make that purchase, would you recommend, my carrier is AT&T.
Yes.
I have an option of going to the AT&T store in Olympia and buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could go to the Apple store in Tacoma.
Correct.
And buy it. When I buy it, I'm going to want them to lead me through and give me some basic instructions on the differences.
Mm-hmm.
What would you recommend? Go to the Apple store or go to the AT&T store?
If you want step-by-step and someone to spend time with you, I would go to the Apple store. They do not work on commission. and so they are paid to have good customer service regardless. Whereas AT&T, Verizon, all of them work off commissions, so they want you to get in, buy your phone, and then get to the next person to sell a new phone to.
I imagine the price would be the same with the.
They're saying that the 8, the anniversary phone, will be more money.
But I mean, it would be the same whether I buy it at the Apple Store or AT&T.
Yes and no.
Which one's the important answer here?
Would you like a?
I agree.
So, depending on whether or not, there's a couple of factors. The first one is if you're going to do the 2-year contract and pay the upfront fee of however much money, and then they roll in the price into your monthly bill. Or you do the basically lease to own where you pay monthly like you would a car payment. If you do the straight up buy version, where you pay like $199 and then you get the phone and you're locked into a 2-year contract. That probably doesn't matter where you get it from. But if you do the monthly payment, I think Apple's, when you do the monthly payments, you have the option of adding the warranty to it. And AT&T will sell you a third-party warranty that they work with. And then Apple will sell you their own Apple Care, which is a 2-year warranty. And I think the only real difference that AT&T will try to sell you on is that AT&T's probably covers a lost phone. So if you lose it, just outright lose it, it's not stolen, but you lose it, they will replace it, whereas Apple won't. But at the same time, Apple's is much more extensive, and the repair fees, like if the screen breaks or something like that, the repair fees are cheaper from what the research I've done. So if you want to go with a warranty, if you don't want a warranty, then your monthly payments will be cheaper with AT&T.
And it probably won't be $199, will it?
Well, it depends.
Like
If you get the,
$700.
well, that's, yeah. If the phone is $700, but what you do is you pay the $199 the day you get the phone, and then that other $500, $600, $700, depending on what model you get, gets rolled into your cell phone bill. You know,
So you're still paying $700.
You're still paying $700.
They don't knock that price off just so it's a lesser price, but so you got to.
And they lock you in for 2 years.
On a phone payment or on your line, your phone number payment.
Your bill that you pay, your like $79.99 a month will now be like, yeah, well, they'll bump it up. And so whether you do the monthly payments or whether you do the buy outright and lock yourself in for 2 years, you are always paying the full price of the phone one way or another.
Is that clear as mud?
The good old days are gone.
No sales.
It's always been that way. It's just for better or worse, they're a little more upfront about it. You know, but when it used to only be 2-year contracts, they would say, "Oh, well, you're only paying $100 for this phone." Well, no, you're not. You're paying $100 plus you're locked in for 2 years, and they've buffered in money so that you are paying that $700 eventually. Which is why if you break a 2-year contract, you then have to pay, you know, depending on how long you've been in it, to break the contract and go to Verizon, you're now paying $300 to break contract. It's not because they're losing you as a monthly bill customer, it's because you still owe money on that phone. Obviously, they care for losing you as a AT&T customer, but they want the price of the phone back in their pockets. So, I personally think the Apple Care plan is a better deal, but some people like if they're prone to losing their phone, they like to go with the AT&T or Verizon plans. So But yeah, even if you get it from if you don't do day of tech support, Bob, if you get it from AT&T, you can always then take it into Verizon later and have them walk you through it.
You mean into Apple?
That's what I meant. Yes. Yep. The really cool thing about iOS 11 when it comes out, Bob, is one of the very first things that will pop up on the screen will say, do you want to transfer from an older device? And I don't know how the technology works, but Apple figured it out, and somehow it magically transfers everything from your old phone to the new phone. That's
really important.
Much more seamlessly than it ever has in the past.
iOS 11 will be available with the iPhone 8, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. When the new phone comes out. What tradition has been is that the new operating system comes out about 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks before the new phone comes out. And Android kind of works this way too, though. It's a little different because Android can be installed on whether it's a Samsung or a Sony or a LG or a HTC, so it doesn't work quite as seamlessly. But Apple always makes sure that the new operating system is on their new phone that launches when you pull it out of the box.
But I think you indicated it's now going to be delayed further.
The rumors is the 8, the anniversary one, the new top of the line, or the iPhone Pro, whatever they're going to call it, is rumored to be delayed by several months. But at the same time, other people are saying we always get delay rumors, and yet the phone still always comes out on time. So,
the marketing thing.
Yeah, well, and Apple never comments on anything until they're ready to officially announce their products. So they never comment. They love their secrecy. Yes, Andy.
I resisted doing the 7, by the way. Daniel had a birthday. He had a 4.
I know. Well, we talked about that before class started. From the 4 to the 7 is at 7 generations of phone upgrades.
I could have done an update, but I thought this close to the brand new phone.
Yep. No, it makes no sense because when the new phone comes out, you can either get the latest and the greatest, or you can get last year's model for $100 off. They always drop the price tag of last year's model off $100. So.
Do they have a lease program for phones? Like they do cars?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, that's what the monthly payments are.
Okay, so it's basically a lease. You never own your phone?
Well, you can. So, for example, my phone I bought through Apple. So I decided to do the Apple thing and not the AT&T Verizon thing. And that continues just keep me one step further away from the carrier so that I can switch carriers at any point and not have to pay them anymore and only pay Apple and whatever carrier I'm with. So, in 2 years, this phone will be, well, sorry, it's been a year. So, almost. So, in a year, I will own this phone. In September, yes.
Okay.
So, in 2 years, I'll own this phone. And then I have no obligations to Apple. And I could just keep this and get a new phone and not worry about it. Or, in September, I can send this back to Apple. They will send me the new phone, whichever model I choose, and then I will just keep paying essentially the same price, assuming I get the same level that I'm at right now of phone. And then they just bump my payments back another year.
That makes sense.
And then I get then my 2 years of Apple Care gets renewed again, so then I have 2 new years on my new phone. But if I choose not to upgrade this year, then again, in a year, this will be paid off. I'll still have another year of Apple Care because they always come with a 1-year warranty, so it's actually 3 years of coverage. And then I could either keep this phone or sell it or do whatever I want with it. So yes, you can keep upgrading every year, and the carriers do this now too. They're competing with Apple. Samsung does it too, where you can upgrade every year, and basically you just keep your monthly payment of whatever it is recurring indefinitely. But then that way you get if you're interested in always having the latest phone, then that's what these programs are for. Or if you just want to spread out your payments month by month, and then every 2 years, that's what Beck and I did this last time, is we kept our phone for 2 years, and then we sold it to a third party because they offered way more money than AT&T or Verizon would, and then just bought our phones.
How did you erase all your data off your phone?
It's pretty easy. You go into settings. Well, you turn up, for an iPhone specifically, you turn off Find My iPhone, which is a feature that allows you to, if you lose it or if someone steals it, you can locate it. Android devices have a similar feature. So you turn that off first, and then you just go into settings and then reset, and then choose factory reset, and it resets it to factory settings. And
I have my own phone, and I know sometimes women's shelters and places like that ask for phones.
Yep. So, and then well, no, you've already changed. So yeah, it doesn't matter. So if Find My iPhone is turned on, you turn it off, and then you go into settings, reset, factory reset, and then it'll reset it back to the day that you bought it.
Well, I get over the weekend. I didn't look at my phone much. There was like 130 or 140 emails. Well, no, most of them were advertisements. Of that 140, there was maybe half a dozen that I really wanted to look at and respond to. I want to segregate those so that I don't have to look at all this garbage.
Right.
Or that I don't make the mistake. What I start doing is just deleting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I realize I just deleted something I didn't want to delete.
Right.
Because I'm going too fast. How can I go about segregating the important ones versus the ones that are less important but that I still want to look at some point in time?
Right. There is an option on your phone and on your, since you've got a Mac, there's an option on your phone to turn on a section called VIP. And then you can then start, it should auto filter for the most part between advertisements and newsletters and things like that you get, but between that and actual people sending you emails.
Then does it highlight the VIP?
No, it acts like a separate inbox.
Oh, okay.
So that when you then click on that inbox, it only shows you VIP emails.
Inbox being VIP.
Yes.
Android, it has that too.
Yeah. Yep. Android has that as well.
So
yeah, it might be focused.
Does it try to make the decision what's VIP and what is not?
Yes, but you can also manually do that as well.
What's the criteria? Any idea that they use?
I think they can completely recognize if you are getting like a monthly newsletter from something or advertisements because of the type of email, and they know that it's sent to multiple people, even though you can't see that because it's all it's all BCC.
Like maybe Home Depot.
Yes.
They got a deal
Yes.
Going. Well,
yes.
maybe I want to look at the deal, but I don't want to look at it now because I just want to look at the more important ones.
Yep. So it will do that, and then you can also mark if it's someone isn't showing up there. You can then click on their name, and you should be able to mark them as VIP.
So this would be under the settings for email?
Yeah. Let's look real quick.
Mine showed up in some kind of an update.
Yeah, well, it does show up. Yeah. So if actually not in settings, Bob, if you just go to the Mail app,
okay,
and then back out as far as you can so that you're not in an inbox, but you're at where it says like all inboxes, and then it's got the names of your different emails accounts. In the upper left corner, you should be able to keep pushing a back arrow.
Well, I'm back to email.
And it should
It's
say,
account, so.
and does it say in all inboxes, and then and then under that it's got a list of different. All right, I'm coming over.
Sorry about that.
Nope, that's all right.
Okay, here's mail.
No, not in settings. In your actual mail app.
Okay.
Oh, back. Top. So now click back.
But this one focused is people
Or
use
click
it.
mailboxes.
At least for the MSN. And other is.
Okay, now click. Oh no, it's already on. Yeah.
Other.
And then so you can quickly add people to that. But it should sort as well.
Oh, so I would add based upon my contacts.
Yes.
Trash and junk.
But it should also do a little bit of auto filtering as well. And if you do have the latest, if you have some form of iOS 10 for your phones or tablets, there is an option if you have something from Home Depot, because I get those too, like the gardening club emails from Home Depot. With iOS 10, if you click on the email, there should be an option. It's very subtle, but at the top of the email, there's a little blue button that says unsubscribe, and that's Apple doing it for you instead of going. Sometimes at the very bottom of the email, you can click on the unsubscribe button, and then you get redirected to a website, and then you enter your email address. If you just click that unsubscribe button, Apple will do all that for you.
Wow.
So if you signed up for, even if you didn't know you signed up for something, which happens a lot of times, if it's an actual newsletter that Apple recognizes, you just push that little unsubscribe button and Apple will do it for you. So.
Do you dump your trash occasionally?
So yeah, you should be able to.
Now I can coordinate the two devices so that if I eliminate an email on my iPhone, it will. But I don't think I want to do that because I sometimes just want to get rid of the garbage on my phone so that I've got time later on. Any thoughts? Would you recommend that I delete them from both? Or
I think that's personal preference. I like, if I delete an email, I know I'm not going to use it anymore. So I'm fine with doing it across all devices. One other thing that I've also done is I've actually switched from deleting to archiving, which, so deleting deletes it and you can't get it back. Archiving puts it in basically this, all those files you have in your basement from old tax returns and everything. That's archiving. That if you switch from delete to archive, it will archive the email and it won't be in your inbox anymore. But if you ever need to search for it again, it's still in your email account.
So when I come to my email and I now want to delete them, right now I'm hitting
the trash can.
Yeah, I highlight it. I just hit delete actually.
Okay. But yeah.
I hit the trash can.
Yes.
So is there another one that would appear for archiving?
Yeah, and that one you would go into the settings and then into mail. So if you go into your mail program, and I don't know off the top of my head how you. I think you click on account. You have to do it account by account. But you can basically. Where did it go?
And this is only applying to an iPhone, right?
Well, no, there's. Oh, there we go.
You can do the same thing on
on Android.
So
you'd go into your mail, and then you'd click on a specific account, Bob.
Okay,
and then.
Got it. Now I'm sure. I just clicked on delete mail or archive.
Yes.
Gives me a choice of one or the other.
Yes. So if you switch it to archive, yeah. Well, so if you switch it to archive, it's just defaulting to archiving it. But you can still have the option to delete when you actually are on the email. But it'll default. So the quick button where it used to be the trash can will now be the archive icon.
And if I want to delete it rather than
archive it,
there'll be an option there.
There should be an option there instead.
It just creates another folder.
Yes, it creates your archive folder.
And then you go back through that over
Yep.
time and delete.
And then, yeah, you can always delete later in the archive.
When you have time.
Yep. But I always, unless it's a newsletter or something, a newsletter I'll delete. But if it's an email from someone, I'll archive it. And like if I've responded to someone, even if I'm waiting for a response back from them, I will archive it because then that lets me know that I've responded to that person. And then once they respond back, it will pull the whole chain back to my inbox because it's a new email again. But that way, so my inbox only ever has either things that I'm currently working on or things that I know that I haven't looked at yet. So otherwise it's all archived. So my inbox has maybe 30 emails instead of 3,000.
That sounds familiar.
Boy, that sounds better. Okay, so to
Yeah, see, unsubscribe. If
Yeah.
you didn't want, if you
okay,
want
so
to,
just push on
just push that button
that. Okay.
and then confirm. Now you're unsubscribed,
That is great.
and then you
I
can archive
never
it.
noticed that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, that came out on
Okay.
iOS 10.
Who else
Okay.
here is on
That is
MSN?
cool.
There's a mail system. Nobody? Because I find, I used to fight with on Windows 10 you had people, and you lost all your groups and everything, but I finally figured out how to,
Finally, how
going
to
in through the old butterfly, I still got all my
figure those out.
contacts, and so I send with that. I had 2 different mail systems.
Let's see. Really quick, I don't know if anyone, does anyone in here use Microsoft Paint for anything on their Windows PCs?
Very seldom.
Okay. And that's probably why, but Microsoft is going to kill the Windows Paint.
Just like they did once before.
Or Microsoft Paint.
One way before that was a great program for editing and painting, and they crashed out without notice.
So, well, this says,
Yeah.
anyway, so it's been, for the last 30 years, Microsoft Paint has been in Windows, and so they're finally going to, okay. So no one's going to be sad.
The trouble is, sometimes they don't replace them.
Well, I don't think they are, because there's so many third-party ones that people use that they're just, why waste their time and the effort to constantly update it if they're going to, yeah, well, I don't know how much they were actually spending time on it. Let's see what else. Oh, so we've talked about privacy, and VPN are ways to keep your activity private. And so this website shows you, and they're limited in their free versions, but this has got a whole list of free private networks. So basically what it does is it hides your name, it hides where you're browsing from. So not only will they not know you're browsing from like Olympia, but they won't even know you're browsing from the United States. And they won't know what you're browsing for. So for example, what was I looking up the other day? Oh, well, it's a little obvious right here. Phones. I've been looking at phones recently, looking at iPhone rumors and things like that. And so now all the advertisements I see everywhere, which we've talked at length in the past, are all phones. And so by installing and running a VPN program, they won't know what you're searching for. And so they won't advertise to you based on what you're searching for.
And who did you use for that Tunnel Bear?
I haven't. There? So there's several. So yeah, there's Tunnel Bear, there's Windscribe, and at this website, techradar.com. And then I just put in free VPN. Gives you a whole list, and it shows you, like this one, you get 10 gigs of data per month of surfing. Great privacy policy. The downside is that they don't have a client for an Android phone or tablet. So it's good because it gives you a little brief rundown of what the positives and the negatives of each service is. So one of the really important things about these VPN networks is, as we've talked about, is if you're in public places or traveling, like you're a hotel or something, because those networks aren't very private and not very secure, people can steal your data and your information somewhat easily if you're using like the hotel Wi-Fi or the Starbucks Wi-Fi or McDonald's Wi-Fi. And so these VPNs kind of make you invisible. Not completely, but make you invisible, not only of your information, but also so that the web can't see you, but then obviously the hackers have a much harder time of seeing you. And there's, for like total security, there's paid services, and usually it's a monthly service. So you could always, if you know you're going to be traveling for a month, you would just pay for a month. You'd have to remember to cancel it, but you could pay for a month's worth of VPN Pro or whatever for these specific services. And the other reason why I bring it up in this form is because TechRadar has done the work of verifying that these are legitimate services. Because we've talked about in the past how if you go and look up antivirus and you find one that's super cheap and looks really flashy, it's probably actually a virus, not an antivirus program. And people have been doing this with these VPN services as well. You find one that's super cheap and you're like, that can't be true. It's not true. You are now have signed up to be hacked.
But for so much money, they'll wipe it clean and make it good again.
That's right.
What was radar?
TechRadar.
TechRadar.
T3ch,
Okay,
techradar.com.
I just happen to be on that, and just because I go everywhere with my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
It's got TechCrunch on and on and on and on and on. Is there? Do you just kind of go through this and guess which was the right
just
one
look
to
which
do?
one is possibly the most appropriate for you.
Well, I mean, like you've got TunnelBear.
Well, but this is a whole list. TunnelBear, Windscribe. This is TechRadar's list of, I think it was 7 VPN services that start out at free and offer limited anonymity with that, and then you can pay to for better protection.
Does that have the same benefit as Google Incognito?
Yes.
Where if you're searching for airline tickets and you do a lot of searching, they're starting to know this guy wants to go between here and here, and
Yeah.
you come on and the price starts going up.
Incognito is more of your own computer not remembering what you've searched for.
Not the other side? Ooh.
Well, I mean, to a degree, but there's not a lot there. So, incognito mode, I'm not going to say that part of it, but incognito mode would be great, for example, if you are buying a gift for your spouse and you don't want them to see what you're unless you want to delete your entire browsing history, but then that also looks suspicious. Anyway, we'll not go there. But anyway, so if you want to do some browsing that you don't want, VPN makes you you become a black hole in the internet of space. DuckDuckGo, to a degree, yes. But DuckDuckGo will still know that you are near Olympia and different things like that. And people will still be able to see you. They just won't, advertisers won't be able to track your traffic, is more of what DuckDuckGo prevents. Because there's tracking and cookies all over the place. DuckDuckGo stops that part of it, but you're still visible, so to speak. Whereas a VPN will just, like I said, if you're concerned about security, or let's say you are traveling and you forgot, well, you could call, but let's say you wanted to go online to your bank account for some reason, you would not want to do that on a hotel Wi-Fi network. Either subscribe to a VPN, or I would say use your phone, because cellular data is very secure, highly encrypted.
So you recommend I use my phone, iPhone,
Hotspot. Yep. I do that quite often. I mean, even when I'm just writing my sermons at Urocco Coffee, for two reasons. One, their internet is exceedingly slow, and two, it's all done through my cellular carrier, which eats data. It eats data, but at the same time, I know that I'm being a lot more secure in my browsing.
I just typed in VPN free,
Mm-hmm.
and there's spot here when you get into it.
Yes.
Yes.
5 best free VPNs, 7 completely free VPNs. So how do you know which one of those to go to?
Well, like that's why I brought up TechRadar. I know TechRadar is a reputable TechRadar, TechCrunch. I don't know. I don't know what else popped up when you searched, but I know TechRadar is a reputable site. Reputable.
Yeah, but then you get the same though. You get pages of those.
Well,
too.
yeah. I mean, there's still 7 of them here, but at least you can then choose between 7 and know that this website has done their research to bring you 7 reliable and not actual fake stuff. No, there's 6.
So you use TechRadar for other things too?
I have, yeah. And when I listen to my podcast, they reference TechRadar as well. So, yeah, TechRadar and TechCrunch, CNET, CNET.com. And CNET is a great website if you're trying to look for tech hardware. They do awesome reviews. Yeah. No, the letter C, and then net, N-E-T. Yeah, they have both. They have like if you're looking up, a new printer or a new phone, you want a new Android phone, you can type in the name of the phone or the name of the printer, and if they've done a review on it, then you click on the review, and at the top they'll always have a, like a 2 to 5 minute video review, and then the rest of that web page is a written review that's typically more in depth, and then they score it. Yeah, they'll score it based on 5 stars. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and then you can also, I think you can also compare models on CNET as well of printers and phones and things like that. And again, they do their research, and so if you do download a program from CNET's website, they've made sure that there's no viruses or malware attached to it. So if you like a Windows program, or if you're on a Mac program, they have done the work to make sure that it's safe. So sometimes, we've talked a lot, go to a web page and you don't know if it's safe or if it's a legitimate deal or not. And so going to some of these websites, they've done the work for you because they get paid to do it.
Well, there's that program.
Oh, like the Web of Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Web of Trust or Norton. A lot, if you have a paid antivirus program, they have a lot of, you can install their web toolbar. Like right here at the top, you can see this little traffic light. Oh, it is called traffic light. Okay. Came with the antivirus program that I have, and tells me that the page is safe. The little red one is not a warning necessarily. It's just letting me know that this ComScore beacon is it's a tracker. So we've been talking about how you're being tracked and what you're looking for. That ComScore tracker is like on every single website I ever go to. So whenever I see the one, I'm almost can ensure that whoever this ComScore company is, they are tracking my browsing history.
Okay, I went to techradar.com, which I think is what you have rolled up there.
Mm-hmm.
And on here it says, we use cookies on their website. By using this site, you agree that we may store and access cookies on your...
Yes.
Do yes?
Well, just by visiting. No, that's just a notification. You're not saying yes to allowing cookies. They're just informing you that they use cookies. Cookies, for the most part, when you visit a website, the first time you visit it, it always takes, the internet's really fast now, but it always takes a little bit of time for a website to load because it's the first time you've been there, so you got the graphics and the text and the links and everything. Cookies store a lot of that static information that doesn't change from a website, like their logo and such. And so they're just letting you know that cookies are used to help load the website faster next time. And that gets stored on your computer. So they're just being upfront and honest with you, letting you know that they're doing that.
So no matter what, it's there now.
Well, just by visiting the website, the cookies are there. They're just informing you that they've done that. Not everyone
Well, it says
does that.
on it, that means you understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and then you know, if you don't want cookies, then, well, I mean, everyone does it. So there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, yep, they're called cookies because they're little bits of information. So, all right,
okay.
thanks.